Welcome to this episode of IntelliTurf Television. What we're going to talk about today is drainage. Not only how our turf drains, what the considerations are for drainage, but what you need to do in preparation for the installation of a project. First of all, this is a piece of IntelliTurf artificial turf lawn. You'll notice on the back of it that it has a fabric backing. Water drains through this at a very rapid pace. Many other of our competitors have a urethane black backing on their turf. This has to be hole punched and drains at about 10% of what the IntelliTurf backing on turf does. So right from the start, what we're installing normally is a fabric backed turf that water flows right through. With that being said as well, the sand fill that goes down inside these artificial turf fibers, water goes through it as well. It's a sand, it's a round, non-porous sand normally that we install that doesn't impede the flow of water. So basically what you've got is turf and sand that water goes exactly down through very rapidly because of the fabric backing and because of the sand that we use. So with that being said, how do you handle water? Well, pretend in your design that the turf and the sand aren't even there. We need to figure out what to do with the water. And one other important point is you never want water flowing onto artificial turf. When water flows onto artificial turf, it brings with it dirt, debris, which leads to mold and mildew, and can cause nightmares from a maintenance standpoint. It's not impossible to clean up, but if you just design the area properly to begin with, handle the water from the get-go in your design, in your construction, then you shouldn't have any issues down the road. So let's get to how to install drainage for artificial turf. Well, basically what you've got is a rock road base or pad underneath the turf. And what you want to prevent is water flowing onto this. So in the design aspects, when you're looking at your entire overall view, let's say you've got a property here, you've got a driveway coming into it, you have a garage, and then off of that garage you've got a bigger house, and then there's probably a patio out back. Well, maybe there's a walkway around, and there's an area here that you want to put in either a golf green or an artificial turf lawn. Well, you want to make sure that no water is coming from the neighbors, and you want to make sure that if this is a hill, no water gets to the artificial turf. Along this walkway here, you want to make sure that there's drainage taken care of, and along the patio, you want to make sure that drainage is getting taken care of. So the basic point is wherever water can come to, wherever water is flowing from the other people's properties or from the hardscape or permanent structures on the property, we want to get it off the turf quickly as possible. Let me talk to you real quick about hills and dealing with artificial turf with hills. So let's say you've got a hill coming down here and then it slopes off and it's pretty level, and you want to install artificial turf along this point. Let's say that there's 4 inches of rock in this area. So if water's flowing down here, we don't want it to get to the turf. What do? You got 2 choices. Number 1 is you could simply, in the rock road base, install a pipe here. That's not my favorite way to do it, but it's very easy, simple. You install the pipe underneath the turf drains very rapidly, you put the turf over the top of it, water flows down into that pipe. The other way to do it, and the more preferred way in my mind, is to dig a little trench here that's going to capture the water down in the rock road base, and then the pipe's here. And when I talk about a pipe, what it is a 4-inch pipe, and it's got little perforations all the way through it. Now in these perforations, water flows through, but then you cover that with a sock. So I call it a sock pipe, very technical term. Basically you're trying to get the water into this pipe. Now that pipe can go to a number of different places. It can go to downspouts, it can go to other drainage that's currently in the yard. Let's take a look at that real quick. So once again, we've got our backyard and we've got our artificial turf installation. Maybe this is a patio with a walkway again going over to going over to the driveway, the garage, and the house. Now, what you want to do is, if you bring this, let's say the turf comes around a little bit, there's a downspout here that goes either out this way or goes back into the back to some sort of city drain, whatever. What you want to do is you want to put, if water's flowing down here, you want this pipe, this 4-inch perforated pipe, all the way around the outside. Maybe there is a big hill coming down and the landscape company has installed a wall, a retaining wall back here to help with the hill. Well, let me talk to you about walls now. What we want to do is we want to capture as much water along the edges from getting to the artificial turf as quickly as possible. So now we have a wall. Normally with walls, and this is the land behind, and then this is the current grade of the land. Normally with walls, behind the walls, there's a pipe already that drains out. It might have weeping holes somewhere along the way. But you don't want water going over the wall, and you don't want a bunch of water building up behind the wall. So whoever built the wall, there's normally a drain behind that. What we like to do, and some people might think it's overkill, but to put a 4-inch perforated pipe here as well, so that, on golf greens normally shed water. I'll get to that in just a second. But if there's water coming this way at all, up against the wall, it's going to go right down through the turf and get into this pipe that's going to be fed out somewhere. So let's talk about golf greens for a minute. Most of the time when you have a golf green, the golf green is going to shed water. You always want water flowing off. Golf greens are normally built up to hit a golf shot into, and you want them to shed water. So let's say that this is our rock road base, and then we've got fringe turf here. Let's make it a little taller so that you can see the fringe turf. And then we've got the putting green surface. Well, what we want to do here is make sure that in the rock and in the underlayment, the dirt grade, that there is a pipe here if you're next to a wall. If you're not next to a wall and the fringe turf is here, then you just want to make sure that this water doesn't get backed up anywhere. You want to make sure that the water has some place to flow. So you always want golf greens shedding water built up. You always want the edges around the artificial turf installation have some sort of drainage around them. It can be underneath, it's hidden, nobody ever sees it. But basically you do not want water flowing onto artificial turf. You don't want water standing on artificial turf, and you want to capture it around the edges as much as possible if there's an issue for water getting to the turf. Remember, artificial turf, if water's flowing onto it, it's that water's going to bring dirt and debris, which is going to lead to mold and mildew, and it becomes a maintenance nightmare. So capture the water at the edges as quickly as possible and funnel that out somewhere that's normally already existing on the property. And that's drainage for artificial turf. Thanks for watching.